stage belting out Fool in Love.
Somebody they have a baby on a Thursday and they're back on stage on Saturday. I would think it takes a lot of strength for that.
But 20-year-old Tina's personal life was in turmoil. Ike was staging a one-man sexual revolution, openly carrying on with countless women. Frustrated and embarrassed, Tina told him she wanted out of the relationship. Ike responded with brute force.
When I decided I'm not doing this anymore, and that was the first time that I had a real beating with a shoe stretcher, and then I was afraid. I was ashamed and afraid for many years after that.
Next, an overwhelmed Tina takes an overdose.
And she just had it to the point where she didn't feel that her life was worth living anymore.
And later, Tina strikes back.
I felt good fighting back. You know, I didn't care if it hurt. I was kidding. It might not have hurt, but I was fighting back anyway.
When Behind the Music continues. The fall of 1960 was a time of exhilarating highs and excruciating lows for 20-year-old Tina Turner. With a song in the top 10, Tina was getting her first taste of success. And she'd also gotten her first beating at the hands of Ike Turner. Tina was trapped. She didn't want to abandon the career she dreamed of, but she desperately wanted to end her affair with Ike.
Well, I had nowhere to go. That was the point. There was nowhere to go for many years.
With Fool in Love on the charts, the Ike and Tina Turner Revue launched its first tour. Ike presided over the band with an iron fist as it zigzagged across the country in a series of grueling one-nighters.
You didn't really cross Ike because he wanted things done a certain way, and it was his way. And if you did, it could be big problems, fights, whatever. And sometimes you may say something and he didn't like how it was said or whatever, and you turn around and he'd pop you one in the face or whatever.
I have a reputation of being hard, dominating, and all of that. Well, I am, because I don't compromise when it comes down to entertaining. Not just music, but entertaining, period.
I think when he wouldn't get a hit record or something like that, those things would be his down time. And I think he sort of took it out on Tina, the one that's close to him.
After the hit Fool in Love, 4 successive releases fizzled. Then in late '61, the hopeful It's Gonna Work Out Fine charted. According to Ike, newfound fame made him an easy target, and jilted lovers came after him looking for payoff. To dodge the claims on his cash, Ike persuaded Tina to go to Mexico and get married.
Do you want to go to Tijuana and get married? I want to go. No! I do want to go. Of course, I had to say, yeah. Can you imagine saying yeah like that? Oops.
Overnight, Tina found herself caring for 4 kids.
I have Ike's 2 children, and I had my son Craig and Ronnie, my son for Ike. And I made myself a family. I totally psyched myself out, and I made a home. And I found some pleasure in that home every now and then.
Ike ruled the roost just like he ruled the road, with fear.
We were always terrified of him. You know, we come home from school, we see that silver Rolls Royce. You know, we dreaded going into the house because that's what he did. You know, he put fear in people. And he had fear in us.
And then there were Ike's affairs. As time went on, Tina grew increasingly embarrassed, humiliated, and depressed by them.
I would ask her, what's wrong with you? And she never would tell me. I think we were living a lie. In other words, like, she acted like she wasn't jealous with me, with other women. And if I had used my head in it all, I would have known better. I won't say that I would have stopped doing what I was doing, but I would have found another way to do it.
At home, Tina Turner felt imprisoned and isolated. Performing, however, she could express her own powerful sexual energy and confidence, and audiences loved her for it.
I didn't plan to be sexy because I didn't think I was sexy, and I didn't think I was tricky. But it wasn't a plan of mine to actually be a sex symbol, because in those times it was kind of disrespectful as a Baptist girl to be a sex symbol.
In the mid-'60s, the Ike and Tina Turner Revue released half a dozen singles on Loma Records. Not one charted. But Tina's live performances were making a huge impression on the likes of legendary producer Phil Spector.
I used to stand there and watch in awe and amazement as she performed.
Spector had just written River Deep, Mountain High, and he knew Tina's voice would make his new songs sizzle.
Tina just symbolized for me the very best in the world of what I needed at that point in time.
Spector backed Tina with his trademark wall of sound and inspired her to give the performance of a lifetime.
He wanted me to not sing from any kind of way that I remembered. He didn't want delivery. He wanted me to sing. Well, all of that was fine except the phrasing of something, and I'm still not sure I gave it to him. When I was a little girl. I had never sung like that before. I wanted it. And I worked hard for it. And now it's a classic for me.
River Deep, Mountain High peaked at a disappointing number 88 in the States, but it was a towering hit in England.
What? Was that England? That got my attention. I don't know if I knew where England was, but I knew it was somewhere. And I went to go.
When the song fired to number 3 on the British charts in June of '66, the Rolling Stones took notice. Mick Jagger invited Ike and Tina to open for them on a fall tour of the United Kingdom.
The Rolling Stones. Oh, I was really hot stuff there, and I didn't feel like, but I knew it was on the way. I was excited.
The tour was a hit. After 12 sold-out shows, Ike and Tina returned triumphantly to the States. Tina was euphoric, but the feeling wouldn't last. In the spring of '68, Tina made a humiliating discovery. Her good friend, Ike Ann Thomas, was pregnant with Ike's child.
It had gotten to a place where it was time to leave, and I didn't know how yet. I wasn't mentally prepared.
Tina was angry and despondent, so before a show in Los Angeles, she swallowed 50 tranquilizers in an attempt to take her own life. As the drug took hold, the band took the stage, and Ike gave the cue for Tina's entrance.
When it was time for Tina to come on, I did his little dum-dum-dum-dum-dum, and no Tina.
Road manager Rhonda Graham got word that something was wrong.
And I was clocking the door, and it was in Los Angeles, a club, and someone came up and said, "You gotta come see Tina, something's not right."
Rhonda hurried backstage and discovered Tina barely conscious.
And I was walking the dressing room, and she was just slurring her words, and she couldn't get her makeup on right. I come in, he got furious about it, of course.
Panicked, Ike and Rhonda rushed Tina to the hospital.
So we raced down there. I mean, I didn't see any stoplights. I didn't see nothing but go. I mean, if the cops would have come up behind me, they would have followed me because I wasn't about to stop. I didn't know if she was going to make it or not. And I just kept talking to her and trying to get the sleeping pills out of her system.
By the time they arrived at the hospital, Tina had stopped breathing. Doctors frantically pumped her stomach. Feeling helpless, Ike screamed at Tina, ordering her not to die. Slowly, Tina started coming to.
And then she just saying, "I just want to leave. I just want to leave." And she just had it to the point where she didn't feel that her life was worth living anymore.
Coming up, Tina's Declaration of Independence.
It was something that came over me, like, this is it, the door is open, I'm out of here.
And later, Tina strikes out on her own.
I never saw anybody so fiercely determined and ambitious in my life.
When Behind the Music continues. On a terrifying night in the spring of '68, a despondent Tina Turner swallowed 50 tranquilizers. She was rushed to the emergency room where doctors labored to save her life.
I think she had reached a point where she couldn't take it anymore. And to this day, I've never spoken to my mother about it.
Tina survived her suicide attempt, but the narrow